Alright guys, we've reached the final in Dubai. It is just as I predicted. Stefanos Tsitsipas against Félix Auger-Aliassime. Auger-Aliassime defeated Alice in 3 sets, exactly like I predicted. And Tsitsipas defeated Griekspoor in straight sets. I said that it would be 3 sets, but he did it in straight sets, with one of his best performances in a while, maybe even his career. It looks like he has really improved with this new racket, which is, maybe it's a bigger frame, I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks to be doing wonders for him, at least in this tournament. His backhand quality in the match after the first set or so was 9.8. That is unbelievable, especially for Tsitsipas, who is known for having a bad backhand. He was just firing today. It seemed like pretty much everything was working for him. He was just striking the ball well, serving well, hitting good forehands. His forehand might still be top 10 in the world, if I'm being honest. And his backhand was very good too, and he was even toying with Griekspoor with multiple drop shots. So this was one of his best performances. Auger-Aliassime, I watched the first 3 games of the match, went to sleep, and woke up when he was about to take the second set. And then I watched some more of the match. The head-to-head between these two players, Tsitsipas and Auger-Aliassime, is 6-3 to Tsitsipas and 5-2 on hard courts. I think Auger-Aliassime. I'm going to make a bit of a bold prediction, and it's maybe not that bold, because Auger-Aliassime has already won 2 titles this year, and it is the end of February, so it's not that bold. But Tsitsipas does have a better head-to-head, is the higher-ranked player, and has arguably been playing the better tennis throughout this tournament, or at least in his last match, the one that just finished in the semifinals against Griekspoor. He was great, pretty much, if not outstanding. Won 4-4. Griekspoor was not really bad. Tsitsipas was just better. But I'm going to make a bit of a bold prediction considering some of those details. And I will have Auger-Aliassime winning this final in 3 sets. Now, I could be wrong, but I could also be right. So, Tsitsipas, he did put on a stellar performance just now, but maybe he has peaked too early. You know, we have seen this before, where players can have a stunning performance in the semifinals, but that does not necessarily mean that they will again reproduce another stunning performance in the final. One notable example of this was in the 2015 Wimbledon Championships, where Roger Federer defeated Andy Murray in straight sets in the semifinals, and people were describing his performance as immaculate. But then he lost in the final to Djokovic. Granted, Djokovic is the greatest player of all time, and it could simply be argued that the final was a step up in level in terms of the quality of the opponents, given that that was Djokovic's statistically best season, especially, and it is also just Djokovic. And there's matchups and things like that. But the point I'm trying to make is that someone putting on a stellar performance in the semifinal does not necessarily imply that they will replicate that performance in the final. They may have peaked too early, also, but they may not have. But I'm just saying that you can't necessarily always infer, due to someone playing amazingly in the semifinal, they will therefore also play that amazingly in the final against an opponent who is oftentimes of a higher level, at least in that specific time, or harder matchup for them, than the semifinal opponent was. It is often the case that the semifinal opponent is in a sense weaker than the final opponent. So you cannot simply infer from a player playing very well in semifinals against a weaker, oftentimes, opponent, that they will do the same in the final and go on to win the final in the same way. Now, of course, they absolutely can, but all I'm saying is that you cannot necessarily conclude that only from their semifinal performance. And it also seems to be the case in tennis that someone can play very well one day, but the following day they will play much worse. People have ups and downs. Now, this will not happen every time, but it is definitely not an uncommon occurrence that someone plays very well, and then the next day their level drops. As it is often said, after a peak comes a decline. So this could very well happen to Tsitsipas in the final, which is maybe what I'm predicting. And I will have my official prediction as Auger-Aliassime defeating him in 3 sets. However, I could absolutely be wrong, but that would not go against anything what I've just said, because I'm not saying that he will definitely lose because of this. I'm just saying that his performance now doesn't guarantee that he will win in the final. He can win, and I will not be surprised if he does win. But my official prediction, somewhat bold, but maybe not that much, is that Auger-Aliassime defeats Tsitsipas in the final in 3 sets and wins this title in Dubai. Another 500 level title for him. He has at least 2, perhaps more. And Auger-Aliassime will be the Dubai champion of 2025, winning his 3rd title of the year already in February. That is great. However, it means nothing in terms of how well he will do at the big events, because we all know that he will flop when it comes to the French Open. But regardless, it is still a good season, or at least a good start to the season. So once again, I will have Auger-Aliassime defeating Tsitsipas in his final in 3 sets, and becoming the Dubai champion of 2025.